Hey, 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 welcome into Fantasy Filmball, the show where we turn movies into sports and sports into something we don't talk about here. My name is Matt.
And my name is Dyl, and we are continuing this series of revisiting Best Picture nominees, and today we have Top Gun Maverick. With that all being said, we do have a special guest here on the show. TJ, how are you doing today?
I am doing great and happy to be here talking about, spoiler, a top 5 movie for me from last year.
Let's just start off there with some general thoughts. This was my third watch of Top Gun Maverick, and it was my first since its second week of theatrical release, so a lot of time has passed since I first saw this movie. And I will say some aspects are lost from moving from a big theater screen to a little smaller home TV, but some other things were very much amplified. Like, I thought the script on this time worked a lot better. I thought the emotional beats hit a lot harder. So I guess we'll hand it over to you, TJ, since you're our guest. What are some things that really worked for you with Top Gun Maverick?
Man, I could talk about this movie for hours on end. I mean, one, it's so interesting because the movie's great, and it's this movie that shouldn't exist. It's a sequel to a 36-year-old movie. If you took that long to make a sequel, there probably shouldn't be one. And then on top of that, the box office implications. Like, I seriously think we'll look back at this movie as like the end demarcation of the COVID era. I mean, like, not fully, we're still kind of feeling those ramifications, but I think we'll say, like, the day No Time to Die got pushed back, that was like, oh, holy crap, something seriously happening here. And then we'll look at this kind of as the end, because then Way of Water takes off in a full sprint right after this. So, I mean, it's the original, but even better. And it has a Star Wars at the end. So what is not to love? But, it's insane. It's insane because that sounds like it shouldn't be a good movie, but the characters are so great. Like, that's what ultimately makes this work. And it doesn't hit you over the head with too much nostalgia. It was exactly the best version of itself.
I've enjoyed this movie more every single time I've seen it. The first time I saw it in theaters, I liked it. Second time I saw it, I was on a plane. I liked it more that time, even though the first time it was on a huge screen. First time seeing it, I was like, yeah, the action scenes are amazing, but nothing for me worked outside of the action scenes. While I was like, it's a 10 out of 10 for the action scenes, I was like sitting at like a 5 or 6 out of 10 for everything that was happening on the ground. So then I watched it on an in-flight movie on one of those little screens in the back of a seat. You'd think that would be like the worst way to watch a movie, but I actually liked it more that time. The action still worked for me, but it allowed me to kind of see how some of the character relationships were working a little bit better than they did for me the first time that I saw it. Today I watched it again, and I liked it even more this time. I really just think that this is a perfectly executed blockbuster. The action sequences are so goddamn perfect. They are flawless, they are heart-pounding, and even though it's basically the same action scene over and over, every single time it's just reinvented enough to make it feel different, exciting. Yes, they're doing the same moves. Yes, it's the same routine, but it's always exciting, it's always heart-pounding, you always feel like something might go wrong, something might blow up. It just does it so well. Was the love story still not vibing for me? Kinda, but, I forgive it a little bit more this time because of how good it is at everything else.
You mentioned right there the stunt work, the action sequences, they're all on another level in Maverick. So I guess I just want to follow up there, Matt. What sequence was most gripping to you?
Oh, dude, the one that I think is most obvious would be when they actually go and fly the routine that they've been training for, and you see the rockets and you see all of the high stakes. That second where they send the Tomahawk missiles off in front of the planes and they say, well, there's no turning back now, that just, like, it gets your heart pounding immediately. But that's the obvious one, and if I had to really say what my favorite sequence is, I think it's when Tom Cruise is booted off of the mission and he flies it anyways to prove that it's possible.
Yes.
Fantastic. That's the best sequence in the movie. It's so triumphant. It might not be as gripping or heart-pounding as the rest, but it just makes you grin like a goddamn idiot because it's so satisfying to see them actually finally do it.
No, I'm so glad you said that, Matt, because that you're right. Everything says the third act, right? Like, it's gotta be. It's a Top Gun movie, right? It's the third act, right? No, dude, when he's, like, post-talking to Iceman, too, like, you're already, like, sobbing your eyes out because of that relationship. He comes back and does it, knocks the time down to 2:15, bests it, like, oh my gosh. And that's, like, that's a huge turning point in this movie. It's kind of when he wins back over, the cadets and whatnot, if you want to call them the junior pilot. That's rude, but you know what I mean. I don't know if there was a scene this year in any movie. Like, this was my number 3 movie of last year, so it's not even, like, my top choice. I don't know if I left the movie theater as satisfied from any other movie than this one, but also that scene, I don't know if I've ever sat on the edge of my seat with just, like, stupid giddy. Like you said, you just look dumb looking and enjoying this, but I don't know if any other movie maybe set that far to the edge of my seat. That is just 10 out of 10.
You mentioned sitting on the edge of your seat, and I would say actually the first 10, 15 minutes of this movie are, I think, the best opening of a film from last year, because whether it's that opening just like reflection type shot from the previous movie where it's kind of imitating but still doing its own thing, going into that whole Dark Star sequence, which I think is, to me, the underrated highlight of this movie, because it sets you into the tone right away. Like, you get to feel what the next 120 minutes are going to be like because of this one scene. The highlight of the movie to me is 100% the technicals. I don't know how this missed cinematography. That's way besides me.
You raise a great point about that opening, because it's so interesting. 2 years ago at CinemaCon, that was the chunk of the movie they showed. Like, they knew that was the part to show to sell this movie. And like Ed Harris, like, shout out to the man for showing up for 18 minutes. But yeah, I mean, dude, the technicals in this movie are ridiculous. See, like, I know you and I have talked about this. I don't know if I can defend its screenplay nom. Cinematography is a sin against humanity to not be in this. What are we talking about? That, I'm telling you, it's on the same playing field of Avatar not getting visual effects. Like, what are we doing? It's also fun to go back and look at Oblivion and see kind of some of the stuff that Kaczynski and Cruise were kind of getting to, and see how it kind of matches up to this. And they took it to the next level. Top Gun, since 1986, has been the movie with the best aerial action until its fucking sequel came out. It was the only movie that could beat itself. And again, I'm getting giddy. I'm like a freaking schoolboy over here talking about this movie. So, I mean, what did it do wrong? I mean, yeah, love it.
At first watch of this movie, I hated the goddamn music so much. I really did. I fucking hate the 80s, man. I hate the 80s so much. I think that we need to leave 80s nostalgia behind in the past. God damn it. Stranger Things and its consequences have just been horrible for cinema. Like, god damn it, man. Just leave the synths in the past. We're past it. Leave it. So, when I first watched this movie, I hated the music so much because it's just so cheesy and it's so over the top. But watching it again and again, I kind of vibe with it now. I'm kind of on its wavelength. Yeah, it's cheesy. Yeah, it's stupid 80s music, but, like, it works. But if I want to mention one technical, it's the editing. It's so well paced. It does what I was talking about last time when we were talking about Avatar. It cuts together so many different threads of action, and it does it flawlessly so that you never lose track of what anyone's doing at any time.
So one, I'm totally with you. Everything Everywhere All at Once or this for editing. No doubt about it, in my opinion. So bouncing off of a couple of things you said there, dude, the music, you're 100% right. The first time I watched this movie, that was the only time I was nervous watching it. I was like, oh my god, the most nostalgia bait thing you could possibly do. And it kind of comes back when he, like, watches Rooster playing the same song. Who in our generation knows that song? Get out of here. Other than the fact that it's in Top Gun. Get out of here. To the credit of the editing, though, on a serious note, the fact that the first Top Gun only had, like, enough shots for what they had. I don't want to say it's easier, because in plenty of ways I'm sure that's harder. You need more B-roll or, B-roll. But here it's like, dude, what do I use? I mean, oh my god, all this stuff's awesome. So yeah, I kind of have to give a testament. They picked the exact right shots.
My next question is so much easier because y'all directly reference both things I want to talk about here, because what makes Maverick so brilliant to me is the fact that this movie knows exactly what the viewer wants and it delivers it in droves. TJ mentioned this, but I am a defender of this screenplay nomination. The script, especially on this last watch, is just so seamless how it flows multiple character arcs, a tight gripping action film, and some really deep, hard-hitting emotional moments. And like, I really appreciate that first scene when we first get to see all the pilots together at the bar. We quickly get to feel and see how they all interact with each other. You kind of learn their personalities and how their like interpersonal relationships are with each other, even the ones that don't really know each other. I do want to give a shout out to someone in this cast who I have not seen anyone else talk about, but on this watch, I was like, they really deliver in their really small role really well, and that's Monica Barrero as Phoenix. She doesn't get a lot to do in this movie, but when she's on screen, she really delivers a lot of those extra emotional weights, especially for Rooster's character, where it's not just all on him, but hey, this is someone who's really close to him, and they know how hard this is for him, and they're able to communicate that with their performance. But Matt mentioned this as well. I love how the music is used in this movie, especially with Hold My Hand, because on this watch, I noticed how often they tease that song throughout the movie. They're in the bar, the Lady Gaga vocal version is playing. They're outside, and the instrumental is playing. There's another time where it's like weaved into the score, and it all builds up to an emotional climax at the end of the film, where they finish the mission, everyone gets to live happily ever after, and then bam, Lady Gaga's song comes in. I know I've kind of digged on this song in the past, and it's just mid, it's just boring. I kind of feel like that outside of the movie, but in the movie, it works so well. And I know that a lot of people want Not to win. I would be cool with that win because that like song is actually like a physical part in the movie, but I really love how Hold My Hand's used, and it would not be a bad win to me at all. TJ, I know I just rambled off a lot of things, but clearly this movie connected with a lot of people. It made a lot of money. It broke a lot of records, and it's been featured heavily throughout award season. So what about Maverick just connects with just so many different type of people?
This movie, like you said, it knows exactly what the viewer wants, but it's not like beating you over the head with nostalgia. It's not like Star Wars where it's like, yeah, I get it. I saw that other one. Yep, I consumed product to enjoy this product. Thank you. This movie, it's just enough. And because that there's so much heart, and then the action's great. So like you said, it knows what it is. It's the right runtime, and because of that, it was exactly what viewers and audiences were looking for. It gave them reason to go see something that they knew they were going to like. And because of its cultural impact and, box office impact, I love it to infinity.
I also get the screenplay nomination, Dylan. I'm on your side there.
Yes.
I get it. The only bit of the screenplay that I'm not on board with is the romance. I get why the romance has to be in there because it's the only thing that's holding Tom Cruise back. He's lived his whole life on the edge, in the danger zone, and now he's met someone that makes him want to play it safe. Honestly, with the script, I think what works about it is that it's extremely simple. It's easy to get. It's not trying to be complex. It's not trying to juggle too much. It knows that where it's going to excel is in flight. But that doesn't make it a bad script. That makes it a script that services exactly what it's supposed to be doing. But I have a question for both of you guys, just about the propaganda of it all. I mean, we know the historical facts about the first Top Gun movie where the army would set up recruitment tables outside of movie theaters when Top Gun was playing to be like, hey, join the Navy. Maverick also really exemplifies that kind of pro-war mindset. It makes it look not like fun and games because there's a risk of them dying at any time, but it looks fucking awesome. It really does. And, while that first movie had those Navy recruitment booths, I didn't see anything like that for Maverick, but recruitment since Maverick has been up 500%. My question to you guys is, does this really matter at all to enjoyment of the film? Like, seeing this as just like a propaganda thing? Because to me, I still enjoy the crap out of this movie, even though I can't really get behind that bit of it.
I don't really think about it, but should I? Yes, because that is obviously something that has real-world implications, and that's massively important. But, like, going back to the script and what it does, like, there's some stories that you have your character set up in such a way that the big twist in your movie is how it wins. No, like, to your point, the script was simple because what wins this movie is the action and the characters. So you get just enough, and it's all paced out right. So, again, going back to the editing, it all works. So it's just one of those scripts that's there to empower everything else around it. So therefore, it works really well. And I think that's the one detriment to it is because you do love these characters. Yeah, it seems awesome because you want everyone to be your friend and you want to do the cool action. And because of that, kind of the one unfortunate side effect is that could be then used as a sales tactic. I don't even know if the creators really they probably were aware of it, but I don't think that was anywhere. Maybe it was in their intent. I don't know. I can't say enough to speak on it.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I mean, I don't think that any of the artists behind it were like, yeah, let's
I don't know if Chris McQuarrie was like, it'd be great.
Yeah, but I think it's more that, like, it's clearly funded by the military, which any film that you use military equipment in, it kind of has to be in part sanctioned by the military. That's the thing with Marvel as well. Ultimately, though, does it matter? Like, yes, it has real-world implications, but I'm with you, TJ. It's really good even though it's propaganda. Like, propaganda can be a good movie still.
I agree with what both of y'all said, but I guess to wrap us back into, like, the Oscar conversation, Top Gun, it got Best Picture buzz straight away from its festival debut, and it held strong all season. And some even think it can win Best Picture. Me, not as much, but some people do. So if that were to happen, let's say Maverick is a top 2 contender in this moment, what would its package to be to actually win the award? Because to me, it would have to obviously win picture. It would have to win editing and sound. It would probably have to take screenplay as well.
See, I actually do think it can win. I'm currently debating whether it's this or Banshees as number 2, and I'm starting to feel like it might be this. I really am, because Banshees is a really cold movie that I can't see doing exceptionally well on a preferential ballot, whereas we know Top Gun is going to do well on a preferential ballot because people like it. And because of the preferential ballot, we're moving towards a time when it's possible that something could win Best Picture without any other wins. That's possible. So we know this is going to win editing. We know it's going to win sound. I don't think it actually needs screenplay to win, because people like it even while admitting that the screenplay might not be the best. Like, TJ, you were saying, this is one of your top 3 movies of the year, but you wouldn't give it a screenplay nomination. I do think if it was liked enough to win Best Picture, Gaga would win song. If we see this win PGA, it's a real threat for the Oscars. If it wins the Producers Guild, it could win the Oscar, and I will stand by that. It is either number 2 or number 3 for me right now.
Best Picture, man, would it be awesome? Everything Everywhere All at Once is my number 1 movie of last year. So, it's what I would pick. But, I don't know if there was any movie that could win this award that would make me happier. When I watch it, what would put the biggest smile on my face? Maverick. That would be so awesome, because that would just be the big blockbuster hit, merging worlds with Oscars, and getting the award love.
I mean, I think I was a little hard the first time I said, hey, Maverick isn't something I think could win. I do. I have it at number 4 right now for picture, because I do have it winning PGA, but I think it stops there. I think just, as mentioned before, it's going to place really high, but also there's going to be a lot of people who put this at 10, put this at 9, solely because I didn't like the script, I didn't like this, or I didn't like that. This is a movie that's going to be very divisive to a small group of people, where the other group just has it high. But that's the same case you can make for an Everything Everywhere or a Banshees, where they all get a lot of 1s, but they also could all get a lot of 10s and 9s. Matt, you told me this a while ago, but a year ago, if you said Maverick was getting a Best Picture nomination, people would say you're stupid, it's dumb, impossible. So
yeah, imagine saying that a year ago, right?
Yeah. So what would be next year's Top Gun? Because to me, that's an impossible question, because obviously no one knew Top Gun at February of 2022. So I don't know, because the first thing that jumps off to me at the page would be the exact formula that Maverick went on, and that would be Indiana Jones 5. But also, no, why would that be the one this year?
Why would it be? But that's a good point. It could be that. What if it's Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is a movie that no one expects to be a huge hit, and then it just is? Guys, I have the answer. It's Fast 10.
Yes. Fast.
It's gotta be Fast 10.
Family.
Best Supporting Actor, Screenplay. Yeah, I mean, I see the path.
Hey, if Riseborough could get that nomination, getting all of her friends to vote for her, why can't family do it for Vin Diesel?
Yeah, family supports family.
Well, I mean, can I throw one out? I don't want to overreact to a really awesome trailer. Could I? But The Flash. I mean,
I was just about to say The Flash.
But Michael Keaton, could that be the populist movie of that year? I don't know, man. Think about every reason that movie should not come out. It is the longest list to any movie I know, and it's still coming out. And with all of the stuff that people have been saying about how good this movie is, maybe. I don't know. I hope, man. That trailer was awesome.
But I think the thing that we all need to watch out for here is we just need to be on the lookout for movies that get crazy good reactions. It doesn't matter what that movie is. If people love a movie, it can get that Oscar buzz. I think that's the lesson to learn from Top Gun Maverick, is that nothing is off limits, right? If it's good, and people will support it to the end.
Well, with all that being said, I want to thank everyone out there for tuning to this episode. Make sure to leave your comments down below if you believe that Maverick is going to win Best Picture. And I want to thank TJ for coming on, because I think this is a very fun and lively discussion.
Awesome. Right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all having me on.
But until next time, my name is Dyl.
And my name is Matt. And this has been Fantasy Filmball.